Tickle time. Woo! Hi, everybody. This is Des, and welcome to Thursday Tickles, a time where I tickle you with information for your personal expansion. Why? So you have more clarity, confidence, and power in life. So, for today's Thursday Tickle, I'm going to be talking about perfectionism, where it comes from, and how we can kind of manage that. So, for all of my perfectionists out there, be sure to stay with me till the end because I'll be sharing some juicy little heart based habits to, to step out of the routine, out of the loop of perfectionism. So, again, hello everybody. My name is Des Caminos. I am an embodiment life coach. I work with women who struggle with a loud inner critic and struggle with self doubt, and I guide them to a place of inner trust so they can have more confidence in how they navigate life. But these Thursday tickles are for everybody. So, that being said, let's get tickling. Please be patient with me. I've got Instagram here and Facebook here, so I'll be looking at both while I navigate my technology. So, thank you. So, today's topic, perfectionism. Who here out here struggles with perfectionism? Raise your hand. Trust me, I can feel it through the ether. You know, what does perfectionism look like to you? Do you struggle with getting projects done? Do you struggle with telling stories? Whatever it is, just know that it's okay. So many of us struggle with perfectionism because no one teaches us how to kind of step out of that. We get indoctrinated at such a young age as to being perfect or things being perfect. When we're younger, this concept of perfectionism doesn't necessarily, it's not embedded in us. We don't know it. But as time progresses and we learn about getting a perfect grade or a perfect score on the big test, you know, we begin to start creating these conditions around what perfectionism is. But for anybody out there who has experienced perfectionism, you might resonate with it being a closed system because that's what it is. Perfectionism keeps us in the loop that is going and ruminating on what's not working, what's wrong, what could be done better. And so every time we think we might be done with a project, we might kind of step out of it. So this idea of perfectionism being a closed loop, really keeping us in the pattern of inner ruminating thoughts, not getting things done, focusing on what could be done better. So, for any of my perfectionists out there, let me know in the comments if this is something that you can feel, that you resonate with, this debilitating closed system of perfectionism. Again, this is something that gets indoctrinated into us at a young age. So, take a breath and know that you are okay and you are not alone in it. And I just wonder, what would your life look like if you weren't struggling with perfectionism? Do you struggle with perfectionism in all areas of your life? In relationships, at work, in projects and hobbies. Again, no judgment. There's no judgment in healing. This is just a beautiful time to get tickled and to open up your awareness for self. So if you could do anything perfectly, what would you do? Are there any projects that you've been holding on to that you haven't been sharing with the world because they're just not perfect? Is there something that you want to tell someone, but you don't know how to say it in those perfect words? If you've ever been in a social situation and you've held on to a really good joke because you're afraid it's not going to land, this might be resonating with you. Whatever it is that perfectionism is holding you back from, I'm going to share a couple of ways to step out of that system, that closed loop of perfectionism, and into one that is definitely going to be a little bit more scary, but also going to be a lot more rewarding because you're going to be out of that circle. And once you're out of that circle, you might fall into another circle, and that's okay. But it's all about creating new pathways in the brain, turning that perfectionism highway that's in your brain into one that's more of a nature path so we can get you doing new, cool, and exciting things. So, doesn't that sound ticklish? I'll get a better joke for that later, I promise. Okay, so how? How does? Yeah, you've hit on my points of perfectionism. I'm struggling. How do I get out of perfectionism? So, the one thing that I'm going to say is whenever that perfectionism comes out, that is looking for the mistakes that you've made in a project, take a breath and just become aware of it first. That awareness is going to be key because awareness is going to allow us to shift perspectives. Once we become aware of something, we have more choice in how we navigate it. So really just the first thing is really becoming aware of when perfectionism is impacting you in a project. Once that awareness has come in, instead of looking for what's wrong in the project, take a moment to really validate all the work that you have done. Look at what's great, celebrate all the work that you've done. Okay, this might not be perfect, but man, this other piece, wow, I'm so proud that I was able to do that. If you're thinking about maybe starting a new hobby and you're like, everything's wrong, I don't know how to play the guitar, I'm failing, it's not perfect, take a breath and just celebrate that you're trying. Give that little moment of inner validation and let those chemicals get released in your brain that's building your muscle of internal support and internal trust. So, really stepping out of that perfectionism loop is one, become aware of when it happens. Two, celebrate and validate yourself for the work that you've already done. And three, this is going to be probably the worst one for you guys to hear. It's the hardest one, and I know it was for me too in my perfectionism journey, is really just sharing it anyway. Because in that space of sharing and pushing beyond the fear of perfectionism, you're also training that inner trust, inner muscle of support that even if you put something out and it's not perfect, you're not going to explode or implode. You're going to be okay. Because the truth is, nothing is perfect in this world. Nothing. And so just kind of let that sit in. Nothing is perfect. A lot of times we make these associations of what perfectionism means. To be perfect is representation of my value in the world, my sense of pride. And so when we're exploring this area of perfectionism, just know that sometimes it can be a nice cozy blanket covering us from something else, some other fears. And so I invite you to share yourself with the world and step out of that loop of perfectionism. Because, oh my goodness, you're amazing. And you're the only person who's had the unique set of life skills that has brought you to the point of where you are now. Whether you want to do something new like play the guitar or trombone, or you have this project that you've been sitting on for a long time, push past the fear and share it. I would love to see it, and I'm sure other people would too. So, again, just coming back to perfectionism and the circle, I guess the closed loop of perfectionism and how to get out of it. Some gentle heart based habits is one, become aware of it. Two, celebrate what you've already done or what you're doing, giving that internal validation. And three, take a big breath and just share it with the world anyway. Because you are worthy, and so is whatever it is that you're bringing and producing, whether it's perfect or not. It's perfect for that moment. So, that being said, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed these tickles. Next week, I'm going to be talking about dun, 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 boundaries. So, for any of the people who are watching right now or watching this in the vortex that is the Thursday tickles, next week we've got boundaries, how to identify them, how to express them, and how to stand in them. So I'll see you guys next Thursday for those Thursday tickles. And now for my favorite awkward time of getting off live. Ending, I think I'm ending.